Hi there, Dave here with a video about selecting. Selecting what the computer's going to do next. And so far we've just seen that it just does one thing followed by another thing. Now we're going to be able to select what it's going to do next. The project that we implemented this in was the square root calculator, our fave that we just finished modularizing. So we're going to go back to our get room area. And remember, this is where we passed in the address of the living room first, right? Because that's the first time it gets executed. And it comes in here, and then it executes this module here, this get input. And so what it does is it sets room length equal to that value, whatever the user puts in. Then we come to our select. And the select we're going to use is the if. There are other ways of doing this, but the if for now. And so we're going to say if this is true. Remember, that's the main idea, is that the whole thing to the right of the if, that has to evaluate to be true. Now, in our situation, there's actually two parts to this. There is the left part, and there's the right part. And there's the connector part. And the connector part says that if either this is true or this is true, then what you want to do is the next instruction that's indented here, which is this. So if this is true or this is true, then we're going to say it's invalid. Yeah, so if the room is less than equal or equal to 0, or the room length is greater than 100, in either of those situations, we're going to say that we have an invalid room length. And then what's going to happen? Well, we don't want to ask the user to input if there was a bad length. We don't ask them to input the width. We just want to get out of here. So the next instruction after this display is going to be, well, the next instruction after the else, right? Because the else is what's going to execute if both this and this are, or if they're both true. If they're not true, right? So if this doesn't pass this test and it doesn't pass this test, then what it's going to do is execute the else. Think about that for a while. Walk through the other ways you could write this select. Once again, the way we've done it is we've said, hey, if it's less than or equal to 0, or the length is greater than 100, then we got a problem, and just return length times it's going to be invalid, whatever the thing coming back is. Of course, we don't really test it. There's a whole lot of testing we could do to find out that this thing doesn't really do a very good job of what we think it's doing, but it works under some circumstances, especially zeros. Okay, so let's see. The only time we're going to execute this instruction, which goes ahead and gets our room length, our room width, is if we have a valid room length. And if we do have a valid room length, then we ask for the width. Of course, we don't see if the width is valid. And then we just take the two and multiply them together. Once again, we're not trying to make a perfect piece of code that will pass all these tests and that will never allow any bogus data through here, which is what you're going to be asked to do as a real programmer. We're just trying to show you the beginning idea of how you select what instructions are executed next. Take care.